My name is Siobhain Lash, and I'm a philosophy PhD candidate, and I feel so privileged to be here to share with you my research on, here it is, on environmental justice, governance, and civic associations in Cancer Alley. So I was on a flight back from Tucson, and I looked out my window, and look at that view. That's the green spaces that are available to us in Louisiana. How lucky are we? The sun is gleaming on the water just right, and it's just such a beautiful photo. So I had to snap and capture this moment. And it reminded me of other moments that I got to share with those who are close to me. And so I wanted to share with you this other photo I took of the Jean Lafitte swamp that I took in 2017 with my parents. And then most recently on Valentine's Day, of the fly right by Tulane. So it's accessible on a rainy day, figuratively, when you just need some space and to get some fresh air. So I wanted to capture that, and I also wanted to capture that special moment with my daughter and my husband. But as the plane approached New Orleans, I was also reminded of a pressing problem that we have in Louisiana as well. This is in Cancer Alley, which is within the 85-mile span between New Orleans and Baton Rouge. And this is what my view started to be. And this is an aerial photo. As you see, it's pretty expansive. And we can also see that the air starts to be clouded. The water looks unhealthy, and so does the soil. It's a big contrast to the photo I just was able to take a few moments ago. Here, we're able to see the contrast. In the back is where I snapped that photo of the beautiful swamp. And here we have another industrial plant that spans miles. And then right before we landed, I took this photo of flaring right at the top. And what flaring is a process that industrial plants will do in order to release pressure to make sure that, to prevent explosions. What that also means is that those residential areas are exposed to high concentrations of air pollution, including greenhouse gases, PM 2.5, and neurotoxins. And as you can see, it went from swamp to industry, and closer the industry got to residential areas, including us. Air doesn't have any boundaries. We're exposed to this air pollution as well. So that's why I wanted to go over environmental justice instead of environmental equity, because we just unfortunately have not achieved environmental equity yet. So we're part of the process though right now. And this means that we can achieve environmental equity. We can make sure that there is reliable monitoring and enforcement of air, water, and soil pollution. We can make sure that Louisiana isn't known for environmental racism, but for those beautiful photos of the swamp. And that's what I want, and that's what communities in Cancer Alley want as well. So how do we get to environmental equity? Well, my proposal or solution is to work off the strength of Louisiana. We are known for our culture. Why not work from that? So we can work for our civil society, our thin civic associations. Now, it's important to know the difference between thick and thin civic associations. Thick civic associations include organizations such as bowling leagues, where you need to know one another for you to achieve a shared aim or goal. In contrast, thin civic associations, you can be from New York or California and still meaningfully work on a shared aim or goal that's happening in Louisiana. And so an example I have is of the Sierra Club. And so one of the defining features of thin civic associations that I love is that it's a division of knowledge. So you can assume whatever function that you would like to within these local organizations. If you want to join an organization that is activist-based, you can. If you want to join an organization that is education-based and give presentations, kind of like I'm doing right now, or public comment, or if you would like to lobby. Then civic associations allow you to enter into these organizations with low stakes. You can exit at any moment. You don't have to pay a membership fee. And if one doesn't suit you, that's fine. You just take it off. So I like to think of thin civic associations as trying them on, just like you would clothes. And that's why they can be so impactful, because you don't need to know one another at the grocery store to say, I don't like what's going on in Cancer Alley. And so you can sign a petition. You may not be able to make that meeting at 9 a.m. on Thursday with the volunteers, but you can sign that petition that Healthy Golf sent out. You can support Rice St. James, Inclusive Louisiana, Coalition Against Death Alley by sharing their events, by sharing their videos, by sharing their knowledge that they are sharing with you to increase educational awareness. So this is why I advocate for thin civic associations rather than organizations like Bully Links, because no matter what your vocation is, you can get involved meaningfully towards a social issue that you care about that you maybe don't have the time for. So my solution to the environmental justice problem that we're having is different from what is typically considered as the go-to, in that I'm not advocating for additional or new regulation. Instead, what I'm proposing is that we support the local organizations. They know the best about how to solve the issues with which they are facing. They are able to adapt quickly to changing circumstances. And that's why we ought to follow their lead. And this helps promote their governance, because the more people you have who know about the issue, the more who can lobby, the more who can be on the ground, the more who could spread educational awareness and be at those public meetings, those public hearings that before maybe only one person went to. And any one of us can do that. And this is why I'm advocating for thin civic associations, because it allows these directly impacted communities to not only be at the table, but to build the table. Thank you.